Okay. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, blimey. Blimey, bugger blast. That was way louder than that should have been. Okay. Oh, wow. Already have people showing up. Sweet. Just give me a sec to announce on stuff and things. The link address. And I need this in studio mode, just in case. Okay. Let's see. Oh, hey, Scout. Sorry, Jetstream's not here. It's me. Sorry to disappoint. There. Let's see. Can I move this down here? And freaking trying to just position the chat window so I don't miss chat messages. Kind of difficult to do. Oh, hey, Scout.
Konnichiwa.
Konbawa. Okay. Let's see. Well, you're sad. I'm Techie. Come on, the Tech Meister. Come on, like seriously. What? I'm not good enough all of a sudden. Ah. Ha! I know I'm good enough for you.
Ooh.
Heads up, I'm also streaming on Twitch, so if you have latency issues and all that, feel free to try Twitch. There's a bot that will relay chats between the two streams, so hopefully it's all good. So, anyway, as you guys might have guessed, I'm having to draw Ultra Magnus for Jetstream on the tabletop. Corvo, that's not Jetstream, that's Scout.
Why is it so common amongst us?
Oh, dearie me.
I'm Jetstream. I do sound like her, but I'm not Jetstream. Okay.
Overlay. Yes, wow, very Transformers. Yes, many much Transformer indeed, yes.
When you said Ultra Magnus, I was in the mood to yell Ultra Mango. It's a common joke amongst me and my friends that we call Ultra Magnus Ultra Mango.
See, not Jetstream at all. She wouldn't call Ultra Magnus Ultra Mango, not right away. Hey, hopefully this works. Oh, wait. Sorry. That's not gonna work. Because I'm not techie on this chat thing. Oh, whatevs. But yeah, okay. Anyway, I need to get my Ultra Magnus references and work out what I'm working out.
Techie is
I'm
drawing.
It's not Jetstream drawing, it's me! Do I have to have a big sign on my... Do I have to turn on my webcam? I'll turn on my webcam if I have to go, hey guys!
Blue. Blue. Always forget that he's blue. Oh.
Wait, now what I'm doing right now is reference gathering. So I can work out certain things about the character. I have ideas, but obviously first thing I need to do is be able to put those ideas down and work out what I want this character to portray. That's right, the next person who asks about Jetstream, I'll bloody put on the webcam or something. Ah, dear, dear me. Okay. Probably all the references I need. How am I? I'm actually pretty alright. I'm a bit today because, you know, it's late. I've spent all day doing drawings for clients and that, and now I have to spend the evening drawing stuff for the tabletop game, so yeah. I mean, Jetstream's giving me a whole bunch of you know, not NPCs for the game, because, you know, Jetstream suddenly decided that she wants to go back to Cybertron. Like, okay,
Alrighty then.
She has to go back to Cybertron. Rick.
Alrighty then.
You know, having these big blaring signs saying, "Do not go back to Cybertron. There's someone who is after you there, and you'll be playing right into his hands and everything." And she just decided to go. Now, the main thing with Ultra Magnus is he's big. Okay, we all know this about Ultra Magnus. He's big. So
He's a big boy.
It means that he's going to have a very thick neck, very strong jawline. But he also is going to have a very broad chest because of the armor. Yes, it's actually important to emphasize that what he's wearing is actually an armor frame. A combat frame. I do like him with that hammer, though. I think that hammer is a very nice affectation for him.
What did I just do? There we go.
Of course. And that Discord link won't work. I should have really updated it. Sorry. Sorry. I forgot.
It's okay, Techie.
Okay, let's see. Okay, save. And never? No. Okay. Now, what we also have to do is just work out posture as well. Since most big people have to, like, stand up straight, shoulders back, very proud, very big chest. You know, because the thing of Superman posing and all that, usually it's big, chest out.
Big and bold.
Yeah. Big, bold, powerful. I have to repeat this stuff to myself, so I might sound like a broken record after a while, but that's mainly because, yeah, if I don't, I forget. Like, I'm so used to drawing female characters or very slender male characters that, you know, sometimes it's like, well, you just sometimes forget. Anyway, I'm also going to put on some music for myself. In fact, that should be fine for everyone else. And playback, I want it to shuffle tracks. That way, if I hit next, there we go. Anyway. Actually, I should really set up the thing that allows my system to display what audio is being played and that. These are all the music files I've gathered for the Jetstream on the Tabletop game. They're all, you know, free to use, they're from free play music. So sometimes I just, like, listen through and kind of go, oh yeah, that's the one I want for this sort of thing. I mean, Scout, if you're at all curious, I think I can just go, boom! And you should be able to hear it now.
Ooh.
This is called Hot Shadow. Actually, this is one of the variations of Hot Shadow, which is Hot Shadow DMB. So drums and bass. That said, Ultra Magnus also needs his towers. He just does. But his arms also stick out a fair bit from his body, because it's a combat frame. So I kind of want this sort of suit of armor feel to him. Kind of like what I got with the Apex armor. Magic relaxation. Drums and bass. Not bad, actually. Not bad. I like the fact that Ultra Magnus also has a fairly blocky head. I mean, that said, I might... No, the body shape's not agreeing with me yet. Not really feeling it. Ugh, definitely not feeling this song either. Ooh. Ooh, yeah, feeling this one. Two. And hit. Moon 60, which is a 60 second sting of another song. That's the other thing I like about free play music. You don't just get the song, you get different versions of it. So like a 60-minute sting that will loop slightly, or you know, a 30-second one, or even a 10-second sting. No, a white Optimus Prime. Ultra Magnus is... Well, the original Ultra Magnus was actually basically a version... Yeah, basically a white Optimus Prime with blue eyes, but the trailer became a combat Prime. Remove the... What's up, Scout? I see you typing there.
Can you turn down the music on my end?
Oh, yeah, sure. That's easy.
It's a little loud.
Is that better?
See, I can hear you better now. Woo.
Wait, you wanted to hear me? Jeez. I think you need to lay down for a bit. Say you're delirious.
Oh. Hello, Moonrise. Konnichiwa.
Hey, Moonrise Midnight. Very, repetitive name.
I like it.
Oh, yeah, no, that is that. I think I emphasize the size on the shoulders now.
Ultra Magnus. Funny.
After this, I need to print out new parts for the robot arm and work on that for a bit, and then maybe sometime on Monday I'll be having to edit together my first personal video. Yay! I look forward to that.
Whoa.
Ugh.
Whoa.
Yeah, when I start my own personal channel, guys, who's gonna subscribe?
I've already subscribed to your channel, I believe. So really, I think I beat everyone to it.
Honestly, I forgot I had a YouTube account, honestly. It's one of those, yeah. Let's see. Okay, and then he has these sort of triangle bits that come forth around his cheeks. So that jawline needs to go a lot lower.
What is he gonna become? The Crimson Chin? I'm okay.
Yeah, of course you are. No, he's not gonna become the Crimson Chin or anything. I'm just more trying to just work things out, you know?
I know. I'm still working on my dragon character.
See, one of the main things I want to work on for my tabletop game is just explaining things that didn't need explaining but would be interesting to know.
Hmm.
Like, you know, the origins of Ultra Magnus's combat frame. Why does he have one? Why is it special to him? Yes. He has to have a hammer because Jet's gonna need something to try and steal.
Doesn't she still have a squeaky hammer?
But I've been thinking since I introduced the Apex armor, I kind of messed around with it, you know, talking to my housemate who's a big Transformers fan, about, you know, well, what if, you know, the Apex armor was not the only armor of its type? What if the Autobots tried to make their own version, one that was actually a bit more controllable, one that actually, you know, didn't leave its owner? Because, you know, my rules with the Apex armor is basically, you have to be worthy.
It's like Thor's hammer logic.
Yeah, but as soon as you're not worthy, it detaches from you and walks off. But it's up to it what it considers worthy. You know, and I hope I dropped enough hints to the players to work out what that magic thing is that makes it believe you are worthy, but basically, yes, it's an ultimate armor. You can't be hurt in it. But that doesn't mean it has to listen to you. So, you know, thinking, well, what if the Autobots messed around with making their own armor? Making something that another Autobot could potentially wear. And that it was programmed not to want to leave them. Unlike the original Apex armor. So that's kind of my idea for where Ultra Magnus's armor came from. But the problem is, something went wrong. It didn't want to leave him. So it becomes a trailer when he's in truck form, but when he's in robot form, it immediately bonds with him. It doesn't want to be away from him. It's like a puppy dog.
Hmm.
Well, wouldn't that just be an interesting take on it, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know,
Very interesting.
war is all about, well, during events of war, there's always, you know, trying to make new things, trying to make things work, taking old technology and going, okay, why did this work back then, and how can we use it now? So I can imagine Cybertronians going through old artifacts going, okay, why don't we use this? Oh yeah, that pesky thing of as soon as you're not worthy, it walks off. What if we made our own? But different. And, you know, Ultra Magnus' armor was created, and its fundamental flaw is, well, it likes Ultra Magnus. Don't like anyone else. Binary bonded with him. I think that chest curves upwards too much. I'm just doing a temporary hand here because, yeah, that looks good. I also kind of prefer the rounder head they have for Rise of Cybertron, so I might redo his head as well. Make it a bit smaller, actually, because, you know, we want this emphasis of he's in armor. Well, yes, but DeviantArt is not the canon for my game. There's also a reason why I don't post a lot on DeviantArt in general. I kind of got a bit hurt last time I tried to post to DeviantArt, okay? Kinda got tired of my hard work being ignored because someone could edit someone being a giant in a, you know, badly Photoshop someone being a giant in a stock photo got more attention than any of the work I did. I hated that. So it just hurt. You know, I'd spend days and days on something, but sure enough, just because someone could do Padme Amidala as a giantess in a fucking cityscape, they deserve all the views and all the comments and everything else. It wasn't even a good Photoshop, and it just pissed me off. At that point, I basically turned my back on DeviantArt, because the problem is anyone can post to DeviantArt. It's not even about, you know, oh, there's so many people on there that you get glossed over. It's like, no, people out and out looked for this picture in this group I was in, and they glossed over mine. So, yeah, it's why I'm always hesitant about posting DeviantArt, because it's a fire. It's a dumpster fire. I hate some of the people that sit there and go, oh well, you'd be more popular if you did X. I'd also be a lot more popular if I did X, but I wouldn't enjoy doing X. Anyway, hi Cybertron. Heads up, I do have a low tolerance when it comes to BS, so, you know, don't BS a BSer. If you're trying to get a rise out of anyone, you're banned. If you're just trolling for the sake of trolling, you're banned.
Yeah. At least they're easy shapes to replicate on either side. Are you guys actually interested in anything I actually say about the Tabletop game, or do you much rather I try and drag Jetstream in? I'm interested. I'm always interested in tabletop games, of course.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's fine. Yeah. I'm just trying to think about how I'm gonna program this robotic arm as well. Got so much to do. Jetstream really threw me a bit in the deep end with this whole, you know, Techie make your own channel thing. It's like, really? Okay, with what? You know, I didn't exactly have time to plan anything. Although I do have an interesting future project that I might start working on tonight if I finish this drawing with enough time.
And that will be...
Oh, 3D printing a Nerf blaster.
Oh, right, you were talking about that earlier.
But I have to meet 3 criteria. 1, it has to fire Nerf darts. 2, all of it has to be 3D printed. All of it. Can't use screws, can't use springs, have to 3D print all of it. I can't just 3D print a shell, put 2 motors in with flywheels and call it a day. And it has to be comparable to a modern Nerf gun. So I should be able to grab a Nerf gun, shoot a dart, and this thing should be able to shoot a dart a similar distance.
Interesting.
Well, it's going to have its own sort of interesting design issues. Because, well, let's face it, I have to print it out entirely in plastic and make it work.
Alright.
So, you know, it's not gonna be just, you know, printed and it'll work. I have to make it all work. Okay, I'm starting to feel this. This is feeling good. Now let's see, with this one, it's a T-shape, triangle down, and triangle out. So I could probably replicate that with the chest quite easily. Go T-shape.
Ooh, looking good.
Yeah. Well, given the last time I tried to do anything like this, it took me like darn near all night. Oh, yeah, that was a nightmare. Roulette was refusing to come out. I mean, the benefit... Oh no, it wasn't Roulette that I was having trouble with, it was the, Apex stream.
That's
That's
right.
right.
Apex stream.
Which I still think looks freaking amazing.
Glorious.
Yeah. The other problem I'm gonna have with the robot arm is I still have to, build the base for it to stand up on.
No.
And programming. Oh, the programming's gonna be a nightmare. Programming is kind of like my worst thing. I can do it, and I can do it well, but I need somewhere to start. You know, I can't just leap into a program and be like, done. You know, I have to have a program that I can read through and go, oh, these are just the parts I want to change.
Okay.
Ooh, I know. I'll give him big, blocky shoulder bits to indicate that his shoulders stick out a fair distance from him. That's a nice idea. Charmander indeed. Char. Oh, sorry, he says Char. So it's obviously Charmander. Char. That's how it works, right?
Pokemon.
Charmander!
I don't know. I don't know how it works. I've never seen Pokemon.
You don't know Pokemon?
I know what Pokemon is. I've never seen the anime.
Oh, you don't need to have seen the anime. Just know that they repeat their names a lot. It's like, what should I call this Pokemon? Charmander! I know, Bobby. Charmander! Maybe Clarence. I know, Fire McTail. Charmander!
How many EVs have you printed out?
Quite a few, but there's a few I need to reprint because things have gone damaged and such.
Okay.
What's that, a voice? A voice? Yeah, hi. I'm talking here. You can hear my sultry tones. Oh, actually, I think my music might be a bit loud. Yeah, that might be a bit better. Actually, the ultimate question, does Ultra Magnus? Yes, he does have a nose.
What?
Does Ultra Magnus have a nose? Apparently he does.
No. I mean, in G1 they do, so...
one animated and War for Cybertron. He has a nose. The nose knows.
I was fixing to say that. You stole the words from me. Anyways,
Which is a lie.
hello.
The shadow knows.
What kind of shadows? The heartless?
No.
I'm sorry, I had to.
It was an old radio drama called The Shadow. The Shadow knows. He was basically a sort of pulp superhero. You know, very classic detective noir.
Yeah, but in Kingdom Hearts, heartlesses are kind of shadow beings. So I'm like, so the heartlesses?
Yeah, but don't heartlesses have shadows themselves?
What?
When they move around, don't they leave a shadow on the ground?
I have no idea. I have to play the game again to find out.
Well, now you have
I
an
know
excuse to play the game again.
Do.
Hey, Emperor Error.
Hi.
Hi-oh.
Konnichiwa.
Actually, I almost wonder when I have to program my robotic arm. Should I, like, stream it on my channel? Be like, hey guys, watch me get frustrated with programming a robotic arm. Robotic arm, move! No, not that way, not that way! Oh no! You laugh now, but you'll probably laugh then as well.
50-50? I don't know.
Oh man, I am so like I've done a fair amount of Arduino programming. Like I'm not terrible at it. It's just knowing where to start, really. Actually, the first thing I need to do is work out if the robotic arm I've made can actually support itself. Because honestly, if it can't support itself, then the whole thing isn't gonna work. At which point, I have to kind of readapt all my parts to work with something a bit different. Although I do have a thing coming in the mail that might help with the backup plan. Well, you see, there's several different types of motors out there. And the main ones I'm working with are DC brushed motors. They're your most simplest type of motors. In fact, if you have a battery and a paperclip, you can make a DC motor right now.
Cool.
Yeah. Basically, all a DC motor is, well, a DC brush motor is something called a stator with coils around it, and some permanent magnets either side, right? Now, the coils are actually set up so when the electrical brushes touch it, as it spins, it will instantly be the opposite of the permanent magnet. So one magnet will be north, one magnet will be south, but the electromagnet would be north-south. Now, of course, since magnets of the same pole repulse each other, it spins. As it spins, it energizes new coils that become north-south, and so on. That's how DC motors work. Well, that's how basic DC motors work. Then you have things like stepper motors, which has a more complicated stator, which has tiny, tiny, tiny magnets all set up in steps. And the coils are actually on the outside. So what happens is the coils turn on, they become north-south, and it pulls the steps over. So the idea is that it'll always step to the next thing. But then you have another set of coils, which then get energized and turn on north, which then brings it another step. Those coils turn off, the original coils turn on, and they step again. Stepper motors are used for Not speed, but accuracy. Now, what I'm using are DC brush motors, which aren't known for accuracy at all. But I'm using something called a potentiometer to record data. So when this motor spins, it spins the pot too. And the pot gives out a ohm reading, a resistance reading. And the Arduino, which I'm using, is going to read that and tell the motor how fast it needs to spin. So if the ohm reading is 3 and I tell it to move to, say, 5, the Arduino will tell the motor, okay, you need to spin this way 2 steps to make this potentiometer 5. Okay? And that, kids, is how Techie confused an entire stream. Oh, wait until I get into...
50-50 here.
Oh, wait until I get into BLDCs, AC motors, you know, brushless water tools.
What motors?
BLDC.
I thought you said something about KC motors. I'm like, what?
AC
Is
motors.
that thing?
AC motors, then there's internal combustion, external combustion, diesel, there's all sorts of different motors. Well, technically the last few are more engines than motors because they generate power through some other means. They don't actually just create momentum, they generate. But that's a debate for engineers. So what I've basically come up with is a very basic servo design. Because that's all servos really are motors with something to tell it where it is. So if you tell a motor to move, 10 spaces, the servo goes, okay, I am currently at space 1, and you want me to move to space 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's... Actually, the best way to think of it is, okay, imagine that you're the motor, right? And I tell you to move forward 10 spaces, and then back 10 spaces. You would assume that you would end up back at the same spot, wouldn't you? Right? Like, you following that? If I tell you to walk forward 10 spaces and then walk back 10 spaces, you assume you would end up in the spot you started in, right?
Yeah.
But what if I told you to do this, say, 100 times? You may not actually end up back at the same space, because you might take a extra large step or a smaller step, you might get tired, or you might be trying to do it as fast as possible so you're not being as accurate. You're never always going to end up back on the same spot. But what if I mark that spot with a giant X and lay down a ruler? That's 10 feet. So roughly, 1 step. And I told you, walk 10 feet, so end of the ruler, and then walk 10 feet back to the X. I do that 100 times. You're always going to end up on the same spot. That's the difference between a normal motor and a servo. I can tell a motor to spin for 10 seconds, but the problem is, it might spin a bit fast, or it might spin a bit slow. It's not always guaranteed that it's going to spin the same way every time. Because there's all sorts. There's resistance, load, even voltage drop. But a servo has a little thing to go, hey, you want me to spin 10 steps? Okay, we'll spin 10 steps. And I have a thing to tell me when I actually have hit 10 steps. Hey, Lil. I'm talking about servos. I still need to do that video for you on infrared. Damn. Oi. Lots of work to do.
Oof.
Oof, indeed. Oof. Oof. You gotta be busy, boy. Actually, I kind of startled my younger brother the other day. They insisted on playing a on a game online with me, and part of the game required me reading out some questions and that, and for some warp reason I started doing the Nappa voice. And yeah, they're stopping for a second, it's like, wait, did you just do... It's like, yeah, you've never done the Nappa voice. It's like, I'm never at home on my computer when you guys call. I'm so used to streaming and putting on silly voices that in front of my microphone, I'll put on some really random voices and such. It's like, you've never done that. It's like, well, I have now. Suck it up, princess.
Oh, no.
Hey, what's the language, little world? Derp is actually kind of offensive to some people.
I wish I was there to have witnessed that. It would have been fun.
Oh, it's fine, little world. It's why I warned ya. Didn't, like, sit there and go, oh, nope, sorry, you're banned. If you did on purpose to offend people, then you get banned. If you did by mistake because you thought it was just a funny word, that's fine. Oh, dear. Okay, now, since Ultra Magnus needs to be big, I need to have him be a bit taller. So we're gonna have to complete more of his crotch than I usually would for one of these characters. Because we want the fact that he is huge to be a factor here.
He's a big boy. Oh.
Midnight yawn noise. Aren't you a little young to be playing Twilight Princess?
Huh?
Going to Lil's world. I thought Twilight Princess was like, oh no, it might be PG. On that note, started watching Castlevania on Netflix. Holy jeez, that series is definitely, I was like, oh, it's an R-rated cartoon, but it's based on a video game. Yeah, so maybe they'll show a bit of, you know, woohoo and all that. You know, first few scenes it's like, oh no, it's R-rated for violence. Oh wow. Oh wow. Wowie wow wow. Like, props to the people who had to work on Castlevania. They did a good job. No, like, seriously, like, I'm a fan of Castlevania, okay? Especially the original. I'm not a big fan of the Metroidvanias. I was more of a fan of the Super Nintendo ones. Yeah, the whole going around and, you know, the fun side-scroller, the interesting story, the epic music. Actually, that's one I need to just check something on. Really? I suggest not opening up a PS3 controller. There's actually really not a lot that's gonna be useful in one of those. Look for someone named Ben Heck, and yeah, it is very clear that PS3 controllers he's had notorious trouble with, and this is a guy who's been tearing down controllers for decades. He does it professionally. But the next Techie teardown, might be a bit more of an interesting one, actually. It might be more of a Techie repair video than anything else. I'm trying to work out how to set it up, but I have a computer monitor that I need to fix. It's a widescreen monitor, so it's actually worth fixing. It was a old, 4x3 square monitor. It's like, nah, they're like, they're now about 15 years old, but this is, a relatively new, like, under, 7 years old. So there's a good chance I can actually fix it. Because you see, the newer the thing you try and repair, the easier it might be to find replacement parts. If I open up and find out the power supply is gone, well, I might be able to hop on eBay and buy a new power supply for it. Whereas something old, you're gonna have a hard time doing stuff like that. That's not to say you shouldn't repair old things. Like, I've repaired old things all the time, I've had to fix up monitors, keyboard, speakers, and all that. Mainly because, usually the person that wanted me to fix it up has some sort of sentimental value to it. Or it has a feature that you don't get anymore. Actually, what I would love to show you guys on a Techie vid is, I'll have to look for it again, but I actually have a special, unique controller. Like, it's really unique. Really special.
Ooh.
And this company actually went on to make things like the motion controllers for the PS3 and that.
No.
But yeah, it's a very unique controller. I actually have a few unique controllers that maybe I should show off. Like, I had this Power Glove-like one for the Nintendo 64, could do motion controls for the Nintendo 64, and it worked actually really well. Okay, I'm gonna remove the hammer for now because honestly the hammer can be added later if I need it. What I really need to do is get these on. Now let's see. Actually, I like those shoulder missiles. Shoulder blasters or whatever. But yeah, I have a lot of unique controllers. I also have an old Apple G5 that I've been meaning to gut and turn into an actual computer case. I'm not a big fan of Apple products, but some of the old Apple products have just this wonderful artistic feel to them. Like, look up the Apple G5 sometime. It's like easily one of the most perfect computer designs I've ever seen. Solid aluminum all around. Just beautifully designed, looks great, looks killer. It wouldn't look out of place anywhere. That's the thing. It would look in place in an old workshop, would look in place in a office, would look in place as a gaming PC. It is just beautiful.
Beautiful.
But the problem is all the Apple stuff inside it, well, it's buggered. So I need to gut it, and try and work out how to put in a proper motherboard and all the other bits, which is easier said than done.
Of course. Easier said than done.
Well, yeah. I mean, if it was easy, everyone would do it.
True, true.
I mean, that's kind of the funny thing about people who complain about how hard technology is and all that. It's like, guys, you know, have you ever tried to build your own chair? You'd complain about how hard it is to build your own chair. If you had to make your own chair. The chair, one of the simplest things you could probably make for yourself. It's 4 legs, a seat, and maybe a back. And you're telling me that, you know, a computer is too complicated for you? Really?
Seriously.
We got Poyo. Poyo, Poyo. You know, Kirby. You don't know Kirby.
I know Kirby, but I'm like, what?
Kirby says Poyo.
I didn't know that. Okay. Harry Potter. I really want to go put my Hufflepuff robe on now.
Are you gonna put on anything else with it?
I'm so
Gotcha! I am so mean to her.
Why would you do such to me?
Well, I'm just wondering if you're gonna put on a scarf with it or anything. Jeez, I mean, mine didn't gutter much.
Probably not the scarf, but I'll probably just throw on the robe.
Actually, on that note, I have watched Onwards today. That Pixar movie.
Oh.
Very good.
How
Very
did
good.
you enjoy it?
Well, I will say this: if you're into D&D or Pathfinder or any of those fantasy role-playing games, this might be a good one to watch because, well, it's interesting, and they actually have permission from Wizard of the Coast to use some D&D monsters in the movie.
Oh.
But it's an interesting take on suburban fantasy. But honestly, I keep looking at it going, man, I would love to run a game in this sort of setting, this sort of, you know, real life, you know, this sort of real life fantasy type thing. Sorry, I just need to check something because I think my measurements might be off. Well, it'd be a tight fit, but that fits. Oh.
Inspector Patronum. My favorite spell from Harry Potter is probably Alohomora.
Alohomora.
I believe it. Mora. English. It fails me. Hello.
Hello, hello?
Huh?
Yeah. Nah, I just can't wait for the next Fantastic Beasts movie. I mean, they're left on such a cliffhanger, and it's like, no, I need to see this.
Give me more.
Well, I enjoy it so much because The problem with Harry Potter movies is that I'll sit there and go, yeah, but I've read the book. I know what's going to happen next. Like, yes, it's nice to see it live action, but, you know, my imagination will always be better than what I see on TV, because the imagination tells me what I want to see. You know, like, I constantly, in Goblet of Fire, went back and reread the bits about the dragons and that, and the Sphinx and the challenge. And, you know, those bits fascinated me. Like, I love the riddle, the middle of middle, end of end, and all that. You know, I love the fact that Harry actually had to work things out to proceed. Like, sometimes in the challenges, things weren't just handed to him. And, you know, I'm not saying that they were, it's just, you know, with the mermaid one and all that, the, gillyweed and all that, it was like, yeah, is Harry actually competent? And then there's the maze that nothing could prepare him for. He did a whole load of training and all that. That's the bit I wanted to see, but the movie skipped over that. And I was like, no, I wanted to see the Sphinx. I wanted to see the giant spider. I wanted to see him mastering all the different weird charms that he perfected, like the shield charm and the what was it, tickle torture or something? It was one of the weird ones they end up mastering.
There was supposed to be a Sphinx?
Yes, there was meant to be a Sphinx in Goblet of Fire, yes. It was part of the maze and told him...
I wanted to see a Sphinx!
Yeah, but they skipped over it because, you know, Goblet of Fire was so big. But that's the thing. My imagination is always going to be different to what the filmmakers have. What the filmmakers can put in. They have to put in the scenes that they think people want to see.
I'm a Hufflepuff. I'm always gonna be a Hufflepuff. It's so freaking enjoyable. Oh
dear. Well, knowing me, I'll end up something like Slytherin.
Slytherin or either Ravenclaw.
Yeah. I'm not that smart, but power is something I'm interested in. Power and history.
I don't know why Hufflepuffs start getting shipped with Slytherins.
Oh, really? What an odd coincidence that you've brought that up.
Why?
I just think it's odd that you brought that up. You know, you saying that you're a Hufflepuff and me suddenly saying that, yeah, I'm probably gonna end up a Slytherin and, yeah.
There is a website called Pottermore that you can take quizzes.
Yep, I do.
And you could probably do a house quiz to see which house you get.
I said, knowing me, I'll probably end up Slytherin. And honestly, no wrong with that. Plenty of good wizards came from Slytherin.
True. Just definitely not Draco.
Oh no, there's a lot of bad ones, but to be fair, there's a lot of bad Gryffindors. There's a lot of bad Hufflepuffs and Ravenclaws.
Mm-hmm.
What the heck? Spooky Christmas, okay. Oh, that's right, I had to find this for the freaking Christmas episode. So, why do I have this?
Christmas.
Oh, that's right. Because Christmas time.
Christmas episode.
Because
Christmas episode.
Because evil Robo Santa wanted to take over Christmas. Ah! I'm sorry, whenever I think of Evil Christmas, I think of the He-Man Christmas special, as Skeletor is like, Christmas? What's that? Oh, sounds terrible! Ah! Love and caring, and puppy dogs, like, Screw off, I'm a skull. Rawr! Why are you kids scared of me? Because of my stupid voice? I can't help it, it's called a speech impediment! You try and speak without a tongue! Or lips, for that matter! I mean, seriously! Know how hard it is to get a girlfriend without lips? Or a tongue? Or even eyes! I have these glowy things! And they're not really even eyes! They're literally laser pointers I put in my skull to make it look like I have eyes! That's why I had to get rid of my panther! He kept chasing my eyes! Yeah, Skeletor used to have a, Skeletor used to have a ride-on battle cat. Was a purple panther. Then suddenly he just got rid of it. I was like,
Poof.
yeah, it's just poof, it's gone. Ooh, this one's quite interesting. Groovy shapes less 3. Ooh.
Voldemort has no nose.
But that's how it goes when your mother used a love potion to make someone fall in love with her, and the offspring is technically incapable of love. Yeah, that's why Voldemort's the way he was. Because his mother wanted to marry a Muggle. So she used the love potion. The problem is, a baby conceived under the effects of love potion can never feel love. It's actually one of the big reasons why love potions are just wrong. Because they actually do affect the baby, but they also have, you know, other effects, obviously. You're basically robbing someone of their free will as well. So you have this child whose father basically hated him, a mother who disappeared, and later gets told he's a wizard, and finds out later that, oh yeah, apparently because your mother used the love potion, that's why you can't feel love. Like, ah. Okay, that's not good.
That's a big oof.
If I recall correctly, it's also why he's immune to Dementors. Because he can't feel love, at which point he can't feel despair, or fear, or anything. He can't feel anything. And Dementors, well, feed on fear. They also feed on souls, but fear is the next best meal. So you try and create fear in someone who can't feel fear. And I think Voldemort's plenty triggered Little's world. I mean, he keeps losing to a frickin' teenager.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, she's too busy giggling at me. She needs to BRB for some air. Let's see. What else am I needing to do for my personal channel, which is gonna be a lot of, yeah. I really don't know at this point. Oh yeah, you missed something, alright. But that's okay. We love you anyway. Yeah, somehow we got on the subject of Harry Potter. Let's get back to, what I'm drawing or what projects I have coming up. Actually, do you guys have, any, preferences on, sort of games that I will stream in the future?
I have returned.
Welcome back, sweetheart.
I'm all snuggled up in my
Spore.
robe.
I played through Spore once, and honestly, don't really have the staying power.
Huh.
Just asking people about games that they might want me to play in the future. Breath of the Wild. That's one that I've been meaning to play through, so hey, might do as a nice stream option.
The nice rest of the. Give me a second. My brain went to about 20 games that I probably would like to see you play, but. They're all Kingdom Hearts related. It's probably not 20 games, but it definitely feels like it.
Well,
So probably the rest of the Kingdom Hearts series.
I also, oh yeah, that's right, I'm getting some new parts for my printer soon. Do you guys want me to stream actually working on my printer and doing the upgrades?
Ooh. I know I do. Because
Yeah,
of course, I like the printers.
Yeah. Well, now that I'm getting a, now that I've got a little bit of cash behind me, I'm also planning on buying a second 3D printer soon. A very small one for, not really experimenting on it, it's just gonna be a, it's gonna be a little standalone unit for my housemates to use for when they, oh, I see. Techie X Scout. Oh, how adorable, Scoot. Scooty.
Huh?
Well,
Oh,
well,
you don't necessarily have to.
Would be, Tekoot or Scooty, I guess.
Scooty. Aww.
Both of them would be terrible. I mean, it's like Scooty. Sounds like, you know, something you say when a puppy is, like, scooting. It's like, oh, he's doing his little scooties.
Hmm.
Hey, feel free, I don't drink... Feel free, I don't drink milk.
You don't drink milk?
Rarely. Well, I have it in my cereal occasionally. But most of the time I have my coffee without milk. I usually just drop in a bunch of ice cubes just to cool down my coffee and that's about it.
Oh, we're totally two different people. I put coffee creamer in my coffee.
No, actually cream in my coffee when I've had to make a cake or something, usually there's cream left over and I'll have that in my coffee. I quite like that. But milk, I don't know. Milk just really doesn't have any flavor for me, so it's like, well, if I don't have milk in my coffee, I can fit more coffee in my cup.
Okay.
Yes, I know this is probably a bad thing and probably explains a few things about my health. Yes, hydrate.
Fine.
Yep, need hydrate.
Water.
Water. Life-giving water. Nectar of the gods.
I usually drink flavored tonic water because regular water just doesn't taste good to me. I don't know why.
Should try Australian tap water. Actually, I've heard in the States that the water is a bit hit and miss in some places, but in Australia we have this massive filtration system and all that, so I usually find tap water is fine. I mean, filtered water just tastes a bit more clean to me, but that's about it. Can't stand tonic water, can't stand soda water. And a lot of the flavorings and all that they add to flavored waters, I can't have because of preservatives. Migraine triggers. So it's like, this tastes real nice. I wonder why I feel this headache coming on. Oh, no. Like, seriously, a number of times I've taken a drink and been like, this has been nice. A few minutes later, feeling this headache start forming. I look on the back of the bottle and it's like, you bastards. You buggers. Frick.
No.
At which point, I'm having to call up where I'm going and go, look, I need to go home because I just accidentally drunk something and I can feel a migraine coming on. And they'll complain and all that, and it's like, yeah, well, guess what? I have about 5 minutes before the sun is too bright for me to even see. Migraines aren't fun.
Oh.
I'm one of the lucky few that I can often sense when they're coming on, but for some people it's just smack and it's on. Like my housemate's like that. He can't tell when the migraine's about to come on. When it does, it does. So, I'm quite lucky. I can usually tell after a few minutes after having something if I'm gonna have a migraine. At which point, it's long enough for me to look at the thing, call myself an idiot because I didn't think to read the label, go home, curl up in bed with a cool fan pointed at me, and write out the worst of it.
Okay.
Migraines aren't fun.
They don't sound fun.
Well, the best way to describe a migraine that I've found is, imagine all your senses being turned up to 11, okay? All of them. Like, normal range of senses is like 5 to 10, maybe if you're deaf it'd be around 3 for your hearing and all that. Have all your senses turned up to 11 means that lights are too bright, even the heat coming off a light bulb is too hot. You get cold easily, you get hot easily, even clothing touching you feels too tight. Sounds like your own heart beating is painful to hear. It's not just, it's a bad headache, take some aspirin. It's a full body, Jesus Christ, I'm going to die.
Oh no.
I used to have them a lot when I was a kid, and then my parents got a bit tired of it because it seemed like, I was missing out on entire classes because I would have to lay in one of the air-conditioned offices curled up in a corner crying because of how much it hurt. Until they worked out, it's like, wait a minute, what is Techie having? And, it turns out that the ketchup, the tomato sauce that they switched to, had a preservative in it. And I'm like, wait a minute. I noticed that preservatives in a lot of diet drinks I can't drink anymore because, they cause me to have migraines as well. So we figured out it was a preservative that was doing it. So as long as I avoid that preservative, I was fine. What's funny is I had a friend come up to me the next day and was like, hey Techie, if you wanted to get out of class, you could, have this thing of ketchup and have to have a migraine and all that. I'm like, and I'm just sitting there going, mate, no, if you ever had a migraine, you wouldn't suggest that to me.
Oh.
Oh, man. No, seriously, it's an odd sensation having it that your own clothing feels painful on you. It is not nice. I'm trying to work out how to make Ultra Magnus's eyes less... Oh yeah, he has fairly high eyes, okay. Maybe I can work with that.
Anyways, I am wearing my Hufflepuff robe. It was nice. Hello.
Anyway, let's get on with good vibes and all that.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm just figuring that if I'm starting my own channel, it means doing things like Let's Plays and all that are gonna be a bit easier for me. The problem with doing them for Jetstream's channel is making sure that Jetstream has nothing else planned that week or anything. I mean, no what's wrong with that, it's just sometimes, you know, Jetstream will have all these plans and that, she doesn't tell me until the last minute, and it's like, ah, thanks.
Cool. Hello. Hello. Maybe? Ship name. Take out?
Yeah, okay, take out, that could work. I need to just check something. Someone just told me the next chapter of Beastars them out, and sorry, I like trying to read it ASAP just before, you know, my friends give me spoilers.
Spoilers. They're not fun. Spoilers are never fun. I'm still looking to buy a kimono and hair stuff. Keep pressing wrong buttons. Why?
Oh, dang it. The chapter had to end on a cliffhanger.
Oof.
It's like a lot of build up, and it's like, I knew that was gonna happen. Okay, can you get on with the actual story, please? Please! For the love of goodness! The world is already ending! Can you please get on with the next chapter so I can at least die knowing who freaking wins that battle? Please! Well, you know, you could just use Discord in browser mode. You know, you just have to go to, you know, the Discord website and just open in browser. You don't actually have to install it. I believe on mobile it still works.
I just finished my cup of coffee. Oh, I also have Discord.
Yeah.
On my phone and computer.
Actually, is the bot even giving out the Discord link? There we go.
That's like saying it's not just I sent it out once and then that was it.
Ugh, God, I hate these relaxed ones. They're a bit too happy. Ooh.
Hey. Hello.
Yeah, I do apologize, guys, if I don't friend you on Discord. It's that I have a personal Discord I use a lot more, and that's more for clients and such. That said, if I have to do this new YouTube channel, I'll probably have to use my Techie Guy Discord a bit more. Oy, I might have to make my own Discord server for it. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, that's gonna be fun. Oy. Social media. The dark side of the interwebs. Having to find something new every day to post up and be like, oh my god, isn't this amazing, guys?
Maybe.
Actually, I have some pretty amazing things I could really show off, actually. I'm now kind of tempted to plug my webcam just so I can show off in stream some of the stuff I've done. Like, you know, the new 3D printed parts and that.
Do it. Do it. I can't do it in Palpatine's face when I'm trying to be cute.
You have to do it from the back of the throat. Think Edna mode. Just try. I find with trying to put on certain voices that you need sort of like a trigger word, a key phrase. Like with the Nappa voice for the longest time, I had to use Dairy Queen, Bucket, Vegeta, Vegeta, Vegeta. Try and match that cadence. So I find with Emperor Palpatine that I'd say things like Edna mode. Just to get it that back of the throat sound, and then I go, do it. Do it. I am the Senate.
Oh my god.
I find it just helps have those...
Again.
Yeah, I just find that you have to have those sort of key phrases to try and get your voice into the right place. Like, after a while you get used to it, and you can just put it on like that. Do it. Do it now. Get to the chopper! Hasta la vista, baby.
Okay.
Don't do it, Anakin. I have the high ground.
Don't do it, Anakin. I have the high ground.
I loved you. You were like a brother.
Are you still trying to be Emperor Palpatine, or are you trying to be Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Trying to be Palpatine, pretending to be Obi-Wan. Hello there.
Hello there.
Hello there. You shall not pass.
You shall not pass.
I place one card face down in defense mode and end my turn. You don't get it, Kaiba. I believe in the heart of the... Oh god, nope, can't do it, damn it. I was gonna go into the whole Yu-Gi-Oh! Heart of Cards thing, but it's like, nope, voice gave out. Voice is like, nope, you can't chew the scenery that much.
Like, no, stop.
Whereas, you know, I bet you if I did it as an Apple voice, I could do it perfectly. It'd be like, "You see, Kaiser, I believe in the heart of my cards, and in the power of friendship. And most of all, in the bucket." That's the jargon. No, it's the bucket of greed.
Bad agree.
Bucket. Bucket.
Bad agree. Bucket.
No, you have to hide your butt elsewhere. It is a bucket for my salmon.
Okay.
Scout realizing the type of guy she's going out with now. Wondering if she has an escape plan yet.
No.
Ooh, no escape
I'm in
plan.
it in the long.
Ooh.
I'm in it for the long run.
Stockholm Syndrome taking hold already. Interesting.
What?
I mean, nothing. Don't worry. It's fine. Do not worry. Everything is fine.
Oh, now I'm kind of worrying. What?
You don't have to learn Morse code anytime soon. Wow, that was it. It's the famous case of basically someone was held hostage and he had to give a video telling people that he was fine and that they weren't torturing him or anything. But someone noticed that he was blinking in Morse code, and it spelled out tortured. And, well, that's the first case of, well, one of the well-known cases of Morse code being used to great effect to relay coded information.
Cool.
You think that's cool? Should be, I should really show off my brother's, scout scarf at some point, the one that he actually won on a jamboree. Okay, if you don't know about Australian Scouts, we have these things called jamborees. I don't know if you guys have something similar. It's basically just a big gathering of scouts. Of all the different scout troops and all that, and they get to show off different things, and usually each scout troop will do like some sort of specialty thing, like, you know, a camping workshop or a cooking workshop and all that. But this particular year, there was a scarf you could win. You know, one of the necktie scarves you could win. And none of the scouts could figure it out. My brother took a look at it and went, no, this was bigger than a scout camp. This is a massive scout camp, as in a full week of, like, an entire field full of tents and different workshops and all that. It was big. Jamborees tend to be huge. But anyway, my brother took a look at it and he's like, wait a minute. He went off to one of the workshops and he asked for a workshop all about decrypting codes and such. And apparently yeah. Anyway, he went in there, got the sheet with Morse code, you know, the Morse code alphabet, walked up to the scarf, noted down a few things, and walked up to the head of the jamboree and told him the coded message. And that's how my brother has a one-of-the-kind scout scarf. Because he actually... Because everyone was just told there's... You know, if they can work out what's hidden in the scarf, they can win it. And everyone was like, oh, must be something like in the scarf, or something written on it, or something. Like, people were unable to work out why. Or what. And my brother just walks up and is like, oh, wait a minute, it's in Morse code. It's the stitching in it actually was in Morse code.
Wow.
Yeah, my brother does some very crazy out-of-the-box thinking. There's a reason why, as a GM, he's kind of dangerous. Like, I should tell you about the styrofoam statue and how he completely screwed over the party's attempt to commit this heist. Now, it's a sort of superhero magical setting where, you know, you could have magic powers and such. And one of the players had the ability to create multiple clones of himself, sort of Naruto style.
There's some Naruto stuff in here.
Now, they had to sneak into this museum and steal this statue, because another gang out there was trying to steal this statue. So they figured, okay, well, if we steal the statue first, this gang has to listen to us then, because we'll hold something on them. Because we're trying to stop the gangs from, you know, going to war with each other, and apparently this statue is a very powerful mystical artifact or something. So if they get a hold of it and can harness its power, that's bad. Okay, good, we're all in agreement. We have to get a hold of the bad thing before bad people do. Cool. They sneak in, and they check around, and everything. Shut up. Shut up, Google. Anyway. Now, this statue was huge. It filled a room. But they figured, okay, there's a glass ceiling. If we can remove the glass there, which they could, and, you know, lift it up and fly it out, they could get it out. Like, it was a fairly big statue. The problem is, they didn't realize the statue was a fake. They looked it over and went, okay, this is the statue. Then the guy created several hundred clones to all grab the bottom of the statue and lift with all their strength. They didn't realize the statue was a fake and made of styrofoam. So they thought they were lifting a statue that was weighing several hundred tons. Well, several tons. Nope, they were lifting a statue that weighed kilograms with all their strength. They proceeded to throw said styrofoam statue into the ceiling, where it promptly broke apart and scattered all over the place. Because apparently when 100 people throw something into the air with all their strength, and they use a bit of magic to boost their strength even further to make sure they can lift it even with 100 people, it smashes into a ceiling and crumbles to bits. At which point they go, oh, you bastard. We even checked it, and, you know, my brother's there and go, yes. And I've worked in theater. I got good at making things look fake. I got good at making styrofoam look fake. Look like other things. And you guys got fooled. It's like, wait, you ever noticed it was styrofoam? It's like, of course you did. Why do I have the Transformers OST? Ugh. But, yeah, my brother would always be kind of into the weird ideas. Like, oh man. And, like, seriously, one heck of a prop maker. Like, one time, when he worked in theater, he had to make a cake. Right? But he had to make a fake cake. It was meant, because, you know, in theater, you have your, you know, with the lights and all that, you can't have real cake on stage. It'll go bad, and you'll have to buy a new cake every time. What drawing app? Scythe. Paint tool Scythe. Anyway, and you have to buy a new cake every time. So, the theater group want him to make a fake cake out of plaster. So he painfully went into excruciating detail to make actually several cakes out of plaster. Because throughout the scene, the cake is meant to be like, you know, bits taken out of it, like it's cut and someone's taken away a piece. He made it look so real that, it kept fooling people. They would walk up to it and try and, like, you know, scrape off a little bit of icing to grab a taste. And they're like, ooh, this looks like good cake. And find out it's plaster. But the problem is, it wasn't particularly strong plaster. So occasionally they would put their finger through it. And he would be swearing at them going, for frick's sake, you guys! Like, it's not real! Stop trying to think it's real! It's like, so it looks real! It's like, I know! That's the point! Can you stop fingering my cake? So, he's gotten good at making fake things look real. Like, he goes into those sort of details.
Goodness. Sounds like a great football's back. It does. If it wasn't for theater.
Yeah. Yeah, oh man. My brother was also evil when it came to pranks.
Oh my god.
Well, he would never do it to family. Because he knows that family lives in the same house as him, so whatever he does to family, family can do back to him, because they knew exactly where he slept. So it was always pranks he would pull on other people. So,
I don't know why this sounds like my brother.
So, one time he goes to the scout camp, and he brings along some of this sewing thread that he had. And this thread is like the strongest black thread you've ever felt. Like, seriously, you know how some people can, like, wind a bit of thread around their fingers and snap it? Like, with just enough of a tug? If you do this, you cut your fingers. It is that strong. I think it's like, it was leatherworking thread for, like, sewing through leather. So it's really strong, really tough stuff. But it was also really thin. And it was black. So it was very hard to see first thing in the morning. So he would sneak out of bed and start laying around tripwires. But only in the paths that the scout leaders walked to get their morning coffee. So the scout leaders would get up, get their morning coffee, then go wake everyone else up. He would get up even earlier, set up these tripwires, go back to bed, and wake up to the sound of scout leaders falling arse over these invisible black lines that they can't see at 5 a.m. in the morning.
Christmas song.
Oh dear. Let's see. There was also one of his other tricks that I actually used myself. On a camp, actually. See, there was this camping game that was played, called, I think it was called Spotlight. The idea is that, you know, someone will be in the middle of a field and late at night with a torch, okay? And basically, they'll try and spot people. If you get spotted and the light shone on you, you're out. That was the general rule. Now, the person in the middle had spotlights on them, so, you know, you could see where they were. Now, my brother, as smart as he is, Went, okay, if they spot you. Right, so the main goal is don't get spotted. Gotcha. So he laid out a rug, rolled up in it, and rolled in the dirt and twigs and such, until it was basically covered in dirt and twigs, looking like any bit of ground. And then he hid in a dark corner, got under it, and snuck out. And throughout the entire night, got himself closer and closer and closer, hiding under this homemade ghillie suit. And, you know, he eventually won the game. Like, that way. Apparently, apparently people said that he cheated because, you know, you're not allowed a camouflage suit or anything, but he kind of turned around and went, well, there were no rules against it. I did something similar when I had to play it on my camping trip. I dressed in all black and put a black shirt over my head and tied it back like ninja mask style. So that, you know, only my eyes could peer through it. And
You're a ninja!
And I basically mapped out, before the game started, I got a map of the camp, and worked out that if I went behind certain cabins, that these are areas with the least light. And I slowly basically used my map to go around and get closer and closer. I worked out where the trees were and all that, so I could actually beeline straight for him. Well, straight for the middle. Basically, I moved around in a spiral pattern and then just used trees that were closest to the guy to get, well, even closer. And, well, that's it. I didn't win. Someone else decided just to flat out run at the last minute and tackle the guy in the middle to the ground. I got dangerously close. No, like, seriously. I was about to touch him. The scout leader on duty saw I was about to touch him, and then, boom! Gotta get tackled to the ground by someone else, and I'm just sitting there going, oh, you bastard! Oh, you...
I was one!
It was hilarious. Like, and you don't always have to win to have a good story. Like...
True. I actually never finished Girl Scout, so I'm kind of bummed about that, but
yeah, well,
I had fun.
Maybe you can volunteer to be help out in the Girl Scouts or something. You're allowed to.
Well, yeah, I might eventually do that one day. Eventually.
It's something I wouldn't mind doing one day, is volunteering for some of the camps I've been on.
Well, I love camping. I've never been in a tent though, but I had fun.
Apparently my sister does it all the time now with her fiance and his kids. So I've been also kind of just tempted. But the problem is I need to do commission work to, well, pay rent and such. So it's like, any day I spend camping is a day that I'm not making money drawing. So it's a bit hard to do. Now that my circumstances have changed a bit, I might turn around and go, hey Titch, can you invite me to your next camp?
I would join if I could.
Oh, maybe you could. Maybe next time she goes camping and brings me along, you're here. I drag you along with me.
Oh. Oh. It probably won't be long until moving out to Australia.
Yeah, okay. Certainly be interesting.
I just need...
here.
It just need more money.
Yeah, well. Money is really... really the crutch, isn't it? But hey, after this whole pandemic thing, I'm sure airlines will have to have, like, cheap seats and that to try and build up funds again.
Woo!
Although, that does have me curious. Do you have any reason why, why do you want to move to Australia?
I'm pretty much just seen all of it from where I live, other than, well, Disney World, which I can take you one day when I move to Australia. That'll be fun.
Well, I mean, Japan is closer than America from here, so heck, we might end up going to Disneyland Tokyo.
Woo! Tokyo! I'm wearing a kimono and nobody's going to stop me. Honestly, I've been wanting to wear since, 2 to 3 years ago.
My little angel princess in a bright blue kimono.
And being in a kimono.
Wonder if you'll insist on me wearing a summer yukata.
Maybe.
Oh, you probably would too. You'd be like, Techie, if I have to wear the kimono, you have to wear the yukata. It's like, oh.
I don't even know if they have yukatas for men to wear.
Yukata
it's
just...
But...
Yeah. Oh, well, yukatas are just general, traditional formal summer outfit. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, they probably do have a few. Happy birthday? Happy birthday to whom? Whose birthday is it?
It's nobody's birthday. I mean, my birthday's after yours.
I thought your birthday was before mine.
No, wait. I'm December the 22nd.
Wait, you're
yours
December 22nd?
Before mine. Yes.
Oh, blimey.
And yours is before mine.
Oh, God. You know what? If this actually lasts and we end up getting married, let's get married in December. That way we can just have everything within the same week. Christmas, birthdays, everything. Because my sister's birthday is the 22nd.
Okay. Your sister's birthday is the same day as mine.
I know. So what do you guys think of this being Ultra Magnus?
I like it.
Really? Oh, someone's birthday is December 19th. Nice.
Nice. Ooh.
Do we have anyone whose birthday is December 20th? Also, hey Dale! Oh, close, close. I know a lot of November kids.
I have a friend whose birthday is on November. Actually, no, not my friend. One of the old girlfriend. His birthday is on November 22nd. One of my other friends has a birthday on February.
Sorry, stretching my arms out. Oh, getting a bit tense. I think something's wrong here. Can I try something? See, I think the arms are fine. I think the chest is too small. I mean, it's possible. I'm trying to make him as big as possible, I've made his limbs huge in comparison. So let's just move them out a bit. The plus side was trying to go for this sort of armored design is the fact that I don't have to really worry too much about...
Hi, good morning.
What, Zodiac
I
sign?
did.
I'm a weird one. Okay? I'm a
No,
weird Zodiac
you
sign. See, when I was born Capricorn. But over time, the star signs shifted, so now I'm Sagittarius. So I'm Sagittarius born on the cusp of Capricorn. Basically, it means technically I'm both signs. I was born Capricorn, but I'm now Sagittarius. Yeah. It's actually not that rare, really. Like, it's just weird. It's like a 12 in 256 chance type thing. There you go. You know that scene when Ultra Magnus got reconstructed by the Junkacons? The Junkacons? Yeah, that's what it feels like. Right now, it's like... Nicely done. Yeah, on the edge of cancer. Okay, nice. Most of my family actually is Capricorn, actually.
Capricorn.
I think my younger brother is Aquarius.
Right. Hmm.
Yeah. Well, B-days close to Christmas I find are just terrible in general. Like so many people are like, oh, don't you get twice as many gifts? It's like, yeah, I don't. And everyone's too busy to celebrate your birthday. Because they have to rush around doing Christmas stuff.
Christmas shopping.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my goodness. The last couple of years, I had no friends over to celebrate my birthday.
Yeah, same.
Anyways,
I mean, you can complain about it though, and you know what? With my housemates and that, we always have something we can do on my birthday. Like, you know, watch a movie, have some pizzas, maybe get some drinks. You know, sometimes you just want the simple birthdays.
Mine's just usually going out to theaters and watching a new movie that interests me. Like Bumblebee. That was a good movie.
Well, I mean, that's why me and my housemate watched Onwards today. It's because it was his birthday recently, and we were like, hey, Onwards is coming out on Disney Plus. How about, you know, as part of your birthday gift, we just, you know, get some takeaway, watch the movie, and enjoy it. It just turned out today he had some free time, so we were like, yeah, score, let's just do it.
Do it.
And honestly, with Disney Plus, them all releasing all this stuff to Disney Plus, like apparently the next Marvel movie is coming out straight to Disney Plus. They're not bothering with cinema releases at this point. Well, let's face it, even if they lift all the restrictions, it's gonna be a while until people are comfortable going to the cinema again.
True. I can't wait until the airlines are open. I can go to Australia, maybe Japan. Somewhere else I wanted to go to, but I don't remember.
Yeah, that'll come to you.
Maybe the UK and Florida too, so I can go buy some lightsabers. Whoa!
I might have to redo parts of his head actually. I'm having a hard time positioning it.
Oh, I'm so sorry if I disappeared earlier because
Look,
Bunky called me.
Oh, of course she did. Bunky calls everyone.
She mostly calls me.
Yeah. Sadly enough, I'd invite her into our private voice chat, but one, she doesn't know me on this account, and two, though Bunky, she is a bit of a... She fills the void.
Talkative.
I call it filling the void, and I've noticed it a lot more in certain people where, you know, if there's silence, they have to talk. They can't, like, leave the silence alone.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no wrong with that. I mean, it is what it is.
True.
You know, it's just some people aren't aware that they do it. Like, Quiver was particularly bad at it. At noticing that, you know, maybe sometimes he didn't need to talk. You know, a moment can just be a moment.
He's terrible at it. And mostly he takes the conversation and focuses it on him.
Yeah.
I hate that. I hate that.
But let's not focus too much on hate, you know?
True. There are some good things about it.
It's easy to hate, it's hard to love, so let's share some more love.
Well, like a Soka Katana. Oh, I can't wait until the next season of Mandalorian.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure you can't wait.
Ahsoka. Also, I want her lightsabers. I might end up just buying it and giving it to you and be like, here, hold on to these.
Well, I can't wait for us to actually design the lightsaber my character uses in the Star Wars tabletop game that I'm in.
Ooh, I want to join you. Oh.
Yeah, well, I have a few ideas for what my character's lightsabers are gonna end up looking like. She started off with like fairly basic lightsabers, and I'm like, you know, over time the Jedi is meant to change their lightsabers, like, you know, build up on it. Ooh, some interesting new videos I need to watch through at some point. Sweet. Sorry, it's just some interesting 3D print videos that I kind of want to watch through and learn a bit. Like, that's been the fun thing about doing 3D printing, is learning. Well, I know it sounds weird, but the more you learn, the more you build on it, the more that you try and work out what you can do, and it's like so much fun.
Ooh. I could
like,
probably even 3D print a lightsaber.
well, yeah, of course you can. I've seen someone 3D print a full suit of stormtrooper armor for themselves. Get this, the guy was overweight as well, so he had to print a lot of pieces. And it all fit. Like, actually, what he did was he took photos of himself and stitched those photos together to form a 3D model, and then modeled the stormtrooper armor around him, and then they did a few test pieces to see how big they needed, how the settings they needed for the 3D printer itself, and yeah, just from there, went with it. Anything on his back? No, not really. Although, you know what, I'm going to put these two bits there. So yeah, you can do all sorts with 3D printing.
Yay! I need a 3D printer now.
You don't need it, you want it.
I think you know me too well.
At least be honest with yourself in that regard.
I want a 3D printer. Help.
This V-cam thing's not working.
Working. Oh.
Well, that's annoying. Anyway. Sorry, I was gonna turn on my webcam so I could show off a few things, and my webcam's this software's decided to update on me, and it's like, of course you did.
Oh, the tigers, man. Okay.
Come on, V-cam. No. Do not close application. It'll be freaking fine.
Ultra Magnus. Ultra Magnus is a big boy.
Yep, he is. And he's not being easy to draw at the moment. Oh, of course.
I'm not the only one who calls someone Ultra Mingle. Ultra Mingle.
Maybe I should also show off my smart calendar thing that I use every day now. It's actually powered by a Raspberry Pi. Turn one of my monitors into a calendar, so I have a friend who helps me keep on track with my clients' stuff in that.
Mm.
So that, so all I have to do is look at my calendar and I can see a full list of things I have to work on the next day.
Okay. Sorry, my mom had to talk to me.
What eyes? I'm not sure at this point.
Oh. What? Oh. Hello.
Mm. To G1. Yep, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm.
yep, there I am now. Hey guys. Yep, I'm showing up on webcam. Figured I might as well. Ooh.
Hello.
Yeah, that's right, Scout. All this is yours.
Whoa.
Hey, hey. Oh, sorry. Because it's the
Konnichiwa.
current season. Oh, of course, my headphones just fell off completely. Why not? Hey. There we go. What do you think? Am I Gundam enough?
E. Mm. No. Mm.
Oh, man. Actually, there. Ugh. Sorry, there's a little problem with that mask, is that it's really actually hard to breathe through. Because, well, obviously it's plastic, but the two vent holes are right above the nose. So when you breathe out, all this hot air is going past your nose and all that, and it's just, it's uncomfortable.
Mm.
We're better off to go with these sort of eyes, actually. Well, yes, it's condensation. It's also the fact that my breath is freaking hot and it's going past my nose before it can escape the mask.
Mm. I have so many Discord notifications. I'm on so many servers.
Oh dear. But, you know, other things I have made recently. I've made this thing, which, again, is going to be a bit hard to see, but it's a computer case for my Raspberry Pis, which, annoyingly enough, this thing doesn't want to show. There we go. I put it in front of myself. One of the plus sides of having such a wide canvas. So you see where one of my Raspberry Pis, without wireless, fits in there. Has a little fan and everything to keep it cool. Just one of the things I'm proud to have made for myself. Actually, there's this thing, which, again, hard to see, but it's a phone holder. But it's all 3D printed. And, oh dear, a bit stiff still.
Nice.
But you see, it
I like
flies.
it.
The idea is that you grab your phone, put it in there, and when it pushes back, it clamps into place. I'm hoping that showed up. But this was the idea behind my idea of doing a 3D printed Nerf gun.
Oh.
And you can see there's a little trigger there, and yeah. Actually, here's something else I've been using real world. Looks like a normal box, doesn't it? And I have to make sure that... Oh yeah, you guys won't be able to see those details good. Looks like a normal box, but if you open it, it shoots out your cards. It's a smart wallet.
Nice.
Cards stick out a little slowly go down over time. So that's something I use every day now. So I'm thinking of maybe reprinting it, printing a version that uses magnets to help it clip into place a bit better. Actually, here's one of my older prints that I kind of wish I could showcase this in a video, but it's really not that important. Look, it's a weird little orange thing. What it is a miniatures holder.
Is it like one? Oh,
See?
it's like one of those little maze things.
No. But you see, it holds your little tabletop miniature in there.
Oh,
But the idea is, because your miniature is gotta be fragile. I mean, look at this thing. She's holding a dragon and a sword. That sort of stuff is gonna snap if it gets hit or anything. This just secures it to the lid. The lid screws on. Doesn't shake around or anything. Keeps it safe.
Nice. No, I like dragons, so why?
I like dragons.
Why?
Arr.
Dragons. Why?
No, that doesn't look right. No, that should go around. Okay, let's fix the... I kind of like the old head I had. It was just at the wrong angle entirely. And sometimes you have to step back and go, screw it, remove everything that you don't like. And I don't like the head. So let's stand back and think for a moment. The reason I don't like the head, it doesn't stand out from the rest of the body far enough for my liking. So it looks like, you know, little Timmy is wearing Dad's giant overcoat. Yeah, it's just phonically different. Well, it's just phonically similar. No what's wrong with that.
Fish. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing over here.
I don't know what else I've printed recently that I've not really shown off. Kind of weird thing. But I've printed off so many little things for myself that I kind of forget after a while. I'm gonna mask you guys sore. Actually,
Yeah, sorted.
I don't know if any of you guys have ever seen my baby dragon.
Baby dragon.
So you see there's a bit of elastic band, so he's posable.
This is cute.
So you can get yeah, I need to put some color in his eyes so he doesn't look nearly as creepy. But funnily enough, I don't know how many of you guys watch Paw Patrol or anything, but yeah, I watch it on occasion.
From you.
I watch it occasionally, usually because it's on or whatever. But someone did a model of Sweetie, the new villain pup from Paw Patrol, who doesn't even have an action figure yet. Am I supposed to paint it? Probably, but I didn't want to. Oh yes, it's one of my evolutions that, sad enough, I need to reprint her. Her tail snapped.
Wait, which one?
It's an Espion.
Oh, Espion is adorable. Aww.
Oh man.
Hi, Mom.
The problem is I have so many failed prints. Oh, they have actually a few villains now. That's the funny thing, they actually do have a few villains now. But they do range from incompetent to actually kind of interesting. Yes, they do. Well, I mean, there's the superhero stuff now. And the spy stuff.
Since 6:30.
And the pirate stuff. There's
I didn't start the coffee pot until around 7:30-ish. Yep.
Well, the thing is, there any other 3D prints I use on basically a daily basis? There's a few I use, but they're elsewhere right now. Like, I have special cable management cable management 3D prints that,
Alright, Mom.
that clamp around my house to keep cables out of the way so people don't trip on them or anything. Because it's a bit hard to trip on cables when they're suspended from the ceiling. Sure enough, you'll know someone who has succeeded. Oh, yeah, actually, here's another 3D print that I use quite often. Well, before the quarantine, it's a dice tower. It's a skull with a hole in it, and you drop your dice and it comes out its mouth. Used to use that all the time for tabletop games. Oh, that was a stepper motor. I don't think if there's anything else I really use, and yeah, there's a few things, but as I said, they're not really here. In fact, a few of my things, other people use in other rooms. And honestly, it's a bit hard to make a video about some of this stuff, especially when Jetstream wants to focus on Transformers and that. It's like, okay, here's a thing I 3D printed that's really useful. It helps seal bags. Like, I'm not kidding, I actually have this clip thing that clips around the bag, but it has a screw top lid. So instead of undoing the clip every time you want to get something out of the bag, you just unscrew this lid and pour it out. It's been really useful for the cereal and that. But of course, you know, that's in the kitchen and it's like, well, I could do a video on this, but is it really robot related? Not really. Although, Lil, have you seen the robot arm I've been working on? I know you're interested in the tech and all that.
Yeah. No mail. Anyways, I'm going to do my laundry Monday. Okay.
Yeah. Give me a sec, Lil, and I'll go grab it. Sorry, I'm about to get up from my computer, so I don't... I don't know how the camera's gonna react when I'm working away. So I don't want it to, like, glitch out and look weird. Tell you? Tell you? Huh. Who do you think I am? I'll do more than tell ya.
I can show you.
Okay, give it a sec. And I'll show you. Here it is so far, Lil. Complete with a circuit board attached to it. But remember the Roboraptor? I've used its motors to make this arm so far. Like, it's not programmed or anything, it doesn't have power or anything, but...
What?
You can see the type of movement I'm gonna
It
be able to
looks
get
pretty
out of
good.
it.
For last night's windiness.
Seems like every time they kind of park up a little bit, then the storm comes along.
But the type of Arduino I'm using for it is actually an Arduino Uno with a motor shield. And the idea is that I'll drive 4 motors, 2 servos, and it'll take analog readings of the potentiometers that are connected. Hopefully, you can see on each axis there's a potentiometer, so I'll actually see how far it's moving. Well, it's called getting the right. It's called getting the right parts, but also being creative. And honestly, there's more simpler robot arms you could probably
Who
make
knows?
if you really try. Like one type of robot arm I'm tempted to actually make after this one is a servo-driven one. Mechs count as robots, yes. A robot is just a robotic. You know, an automaton. A robot is just, it refers to any sort of mechanism that can be programmed. You know, it's just science fiction has gone, oh no, the humanoid robots are real robots, and the robotic arms that work in factories aren't. It's like, well no, those are robots. So is a platform that goes up and down when you give it a command to, that's a robot. It's anything that can be programmed to respond to commands, or to any sort of sequencing. It's just a programmable thing. Mechanism.
Boop. Boop boop beep boop.
Now, I don't like the shade eyes. They look a bit too not alive. But yeah, mechs count as robots because, well, they're robotic
What?
rooms and such. If anything, Cybertronians don't count as robots because
Okay,
they're
Mom.
technically alive.
Mm.
You just want to get me out of here.
But then again, you're getting into
more or less.
More cultural questions and
Maybe less. Okay. I love you.
Let's see if I can find the mech arm I was thinking of building next. Ah, here it is.
A Nerf gun? Maybe?
Here's the next robot arm I was thinking of making. Will come up soon. Jetstream will say it, as it were. But this thing uses entirely out of servos, and those servos can be bought for like 10 for £10. Now the Arduino board, you're looking at another £10, and the servo shield for it. Again, probably another £10 if you buy off eBay. But the fact is, you know, you can build a very, very cheap arm for like, you know, £30. Like, yes, it sounds like a lot of money, but once it's built, it's built. You know, and the other wonderful thing about things like servos and that is you can always reuse them. You know, I'm not limited to just this robot arm in the end. You know, I might reconfigure it so it can perform other things. Although from the feel of it, might be able to start using screws to hold everything in place, which might be nice to be able to use soon. Yeah, a tail would be interesting, but I don't really have any use for a tail. Honestly, what I prefer is like a helper arm, like you know, Doc Ock, but have one that's just on my shoulder, so it's like, you know, if I'm holding something, I can be like, arm, hold. It can, like, see what I'm holding, hold it for me. A number of times that'll be useful, like, I'm trying to solder something, and it's like, arm, hold this. And it'll just hold it for me while I solder it in place. Let's not bother with a nose. Oh no, now he looks really weird without any sort of feature.
The nose.
Yeah, like Midna's hair on, yeah. That's exactly it. Actually, it's something I've always wanted to do, is some sort of backpack unit thing that I'd be able to use for, see, I've always liked the idea of having my own Navi, you know, like from Ocarina of Time, my little you know, a little thing that follows me around.
Hey, listen.
Yes, 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 yes. I'm listening to you. Oh, sorry, I already have that. It's called a girlfriend.
Oh.
Oh, you're cute and blue.
What?
But
Okay.
most importantly, I just want something to be able to like record information when I tell it. Like if something happens, just being able to go record and have it just start recording what I'm looking at. Without, you know, the darn getting out your phone, opening up the camera, switching out to video, and hitting video. Like I know some phones you can set up so if you long press something it'll switch straight to camera, but it's like, yeah. That's a lot of busy work.
Hmm.
Actually, you know what? Screw it, let's do something risky. Because I need to ink this, I've been doing this for 2.5 hours. Can you give it to me? Well, you can if you like, but... Is that something you really want to do? Don't worry, I'm not deleting his whole body. What I'm doing is actually removing the head. There. This on. Honestly, I'd much rather you keep it and keep experimenting with it. That's the thing, like, you know, the arm is yours to use. It's not mine to have. You know, you need to build up your own experiences and such.
Experiment.
Now that I've resized the body, the head actually looks a bit better. So I might stick with this head that I had earlier, which honestly looks a bit like a younger Ultra Magnus, but I'll live with it.
That looks pretty good. I like it. I like it. Whoa.
Now need to just go. I mean, color and shadow and all that I can do next time round. Yo, tomorrow.
Late in the evening for me and early morning for you. Time zones are weird.
Not really. It's usually 12-hour difference. Hey, now, no one's stupid, okay? Don't do any of that, you know, I just grew a brain cell, blah blah blah, I was dumb before. Everyone is dumb. Everyone is stupid. That's the fact of life. But what makes us smart is our ability to learn and our ability to grow. Ignorance is the real enemy, not stupidity.
Sensei. People can't grow brain cells.
Someone can be stupid, but that just means they don't know. Ignorance of knowledge is true stupidity.
I'm really in the mood to quote something that Master Splinter said from the 2012 series.
You can't be stupid if you're prepared
guess-
to learn.
Something like that, but it actually is. Wisdom comes from experience, and experience comes from making mistakes. It's been a while since I watched it, so.
Wisdom comes from experience. Experience comes from making mistakes. Which also, you know, if I can paraphrase Thomas Edison, I have not failed. I just found 10,000 ways that it doesn't work. Well, I mean, do you know how many iterations of the light bulb he had to go through before it worked?
How many?
I don't know, it's unclear how many he's done, but there's clearly notes for over 100 different models of light bulbs that he tried out. Different gases, different filaments, different all sorts. The frickin' light bulb, the thing that we take for granted every day, apparently had to go through so many iterations. Do any of you actually know how an incandescent light bulb works? The old traditional light bulb?
I watched a How It's Made video on this.
They don't remember?
I forgot.
Oh,
I don't remember.
Oh, it's alright if you don't remember. I mean, it's one of those things, it's like... If you don't remember, oh hey, prepare to be reminded.
Oh, remind us.
Basically, long and short, inside a light bulb is something called a filament, which is a bit of wire that, because it's coiled and all that, has high resistance. Okay? And that makes it glow, right?
Me.
Problem is,
Yep.
while it glows, it can start burning and producing smoke and such. Okay? So the bulb is filled with an inert gas. This is a gas that doesn't react to anything. And this gas is usually something like argon. Argon does not burn. So you have this bulb glowing, because, you know, for anything to burn, it needs oxygen. It needs fuel to burn. But if there's no fuel to burn, it doesn't burn. It just glows. So the light bulb is full of argon. You know, I think the chemical symbol for argon is A. And a filament that glows. And that's basically how a light bulb works.
Ooh.
That said, we have moved beyond light bulbs to LED bulbs, and, well, we went to fluorescent bulbs for a while. Those work through, well, fluorescing chemicals and that, but that's a bit more complicated too. LED bulbs, which are way, way better for the environment and last way longer.
Woohoo!
I think his neck is a bit too long still. Bring that head down. Oh, because I kind of like this whole he has to look down on everyone type thing. I think that helps. That helps with the whole size thing. Because he is huge compared to most Autobots.
He tall.
He
He
big.
tall. Well, pretty much all the Transformers characters except Minicons are taller than my character. Oh, well, Sparklings too. So my Transformers character Scout is half the size of TFPRC. Oh, she's small. She's a small seeker.
This looks like he has some sort of armored backseat thing. Yeah. Anyway, we'll put that down. Oh god, I haven't even done his hammer yet. Ah.
The hammer! You the hammer!
I'm sleepy.
Aww.
Damn you, Magnus. Damn you.
Curse you, Ultra Mango!
Curse your fruity goodness. Curse you. I'll just have to do it. Do it now. Hey, what does Palpatine say when he screws up asking a girl out? Blew it. No, blew it. As in he blew it?
Yeah, I blew it.
Yeah. Hey Palpatine, what do you do with all this old meat? Stew it. What does Palpatine say when he sees a twist they expected all along? Knew it.
I knew it. I knew it.
Oh dear.
You're right. Oh.
I'm actually not a fan of stewed
So
beef.
shitty.
Stewed beef is one of those. I don't know why, I just can't stand the taste of stewed beef. It's probably because usually they stew it with, you know, tomato sauce or something. So I just always get that tomato flavor that's just so. Ugh. Can't stand
I'm
it.
just like, nope.
You know, like, I don't mind slow cooked curries and all that, don't get me wrong. It's just slow cooked beef. It's just. I've had my housemates be like, oh, but, you know, you should try my stew. And it's like, no.
Just no, thank you.
Oh,
I'm
no,
good.
I actually upset one of my housemates over that. See, my family was not well off, so basically, if you were picky about food, you just didn't eat. Simple as that. They were like, you know, okay, you're gonna be picky about food, you go hungry. Simple as that. Like, we don't have time to screw around. We don't have the money to screw around. So, you got used to just, it doesn't matter if you hated it, you just ate it. And, oh dear god, I hated tomatoes. So, you know, when I moved out, I told my housemates this, that, like, no, I really hate tomatoes. And they're like, ah, oh, well, we were planning on cooking pasta tonight. I was like, okay, fine, I'll live with it. Whatever. And they're... Now, and then they're like, you know, later that night, they're like, oh, Techie, you must really like it, like my pasta, you ate it all. And it's like, no, it was food. I ate it, but it was food. Oh, so you didn't like it? It's like, no, it was a tomatoey it was very tomatoey. I really didn't like it. But you ate it. Yes, because I grew up understanding that if I didn't eat, I went hungry. And they just, you know, like, it took them a while to click, because, both of my housemates I've been with the most, they grew up as, only children. You know, only child. So they got used to being given the foods that they liked and all that, and, you know, not grew up with, like, 5 siblings. So,
Oh goodness.
so yeah. But yeah, one of them made this beef stew, and I'm like, look, I'm gonna tell you this, beef stew is one of the things I hate the most. Oh, you should try my beef stew, it'll be fine, it'll be fine. I took one mouthful, put it down, went, nope. Oh, but I tried to keep them on. I was like, nope, I don't care, I still don't like it. It just doesn't click with people that, you know, sometimes I'll just eat because I'm hungry. I do not want to be hungry. I don't care if it tastes bad, I just don't want to be hungry right now.
You just want food.
Yeah. That said, I also did find that, see, I got something called a panic disorder, okay? And it's not depression. So before you go, oh, is that like depression? It's not. It's in the same, it's in the same family, but it's not depression. Basically, growing up, my entire body was always in a panic state. So, you know, and you know, no one's ever realized. It's just, oh, Techie's always paranoid. Techie's always a bit jumpy. It wasn't until I sat down with a doctor and he was like, mate, you got a panic disorder. You are always in a state of panic. Your heart rate is always slightly elevated. Your body is always tense. So he started me on this medication and he warned me about things like, you know, you might go off your food, you might eat less, you might have weird dreams, so on and so forth, but it'll stop you breaking out into panic attacks. Now get this, I grew up my entire life and I didn't really have panic attacks. But the doctor reveals that, no, you've been having panic attacks constantly. You've had panic attacks for so long that they've just been normal for you. So, one of the weird side effects about this medication is it caused me to untense. So my back pain, my chronic back pain, actually disappeared. It was so weird. Like, the doctor was sitting there going, okay, I've never heard of that one happening, but hey, if it works, it works. But another thing I noticed, my sense of taste got very strong all of a sudden. Like, really strong. Like I almost burst into tears with joy when I tried my favorite chocolate. Now, I have a favorite chocolate. It's dark sea salt caramel. I love sea salt caramel and I love dark chocolate.
Ooh, that sounds good. I want to try that.
Oh, it's very bitter. I'm actually a fan of the very bitter stuff. And I love the little bit of salt with caramel. Like, and it's only this one particular brand that I will go for this stuff, because it's so nice. But I decided to have it as a treat, and I tried it, and I just started actually crying with joy. Like, I was freaking out, going, what the heck? How the heck does this taste so good? Like, I couldn't describe it. It was such a pleasure-filled sensation, and then I realized, you know, this was like a day after I started taking the medication. I'm just like, what the heck? I'm actually enjoying food. What the heck?
Morning, Dad.
Actually, what I found funny is because food tasted stronger, I ate less.
I'm pretty good.
Because sometimes you eat too much of something that's very strong tasting, you're like, need to ease off a bit. So it actually made it a bit easier
you guys are so in bed, and I'm like, I don't know what to turn it out to. Okay. Alright.
I love it that Scout gets that cute little accent whenever she talks to her parents.
Nope.
It's so adorable.
What's adorable?
You are.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, actually, because my sense of taste changed a bit, because of the medication, I decided to actually try tomatoes again. Nope. Nope, they're still as bad as ever. No, actually, that was the funny thing. I was like, you know, my housemates was cutting himself up some fresh tomato. I was like, hey, you mind cutting me a little bit? And they're like, he's like, why? It's like, because I had a life-changing experience with a bar of chocolate, and honestly, I'm kind of curious as to how my sense of taste is with food I didn't like. Like, cause now that I like food, with this change thing, I try a bit of tomato, I'm like, nope, 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 very much nope, definitely nope. Oh god, why does the taste of tomato burn? Tomato to me tastes like burnt water, okay? Tastes like burnt soda water. I can't describe it, it's so freaking weird. Because I'm actually okay with tomato sauce. I'm actually okay with a lot of tomato-based stuff. Like tomato sauce, I'm fine with. A really well-cooked pasta sauce, I'm fine with. It's the raw tomato flavor that's just... Nope. Nope, 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 nope. I mean, you know tomatoes are related to deadly nightshade, right? Maybe the burning taste is my body telling me that, you know, hey, this is poisonous, stop eating it. Like, it takes a very special type of person to go, hey, this plant is poisonous, let's breed it so it's less poisonous. I mean, to be fair, we're also the species that went to the chili and went, hey, you look interesting, and the chili's sitting there going, ha ha ha, I'm made so only birds can eat me and spread my seeds. Ha ha ha, I have a biological weapon inside me that stops other creatures eating me. Meanwhile, humans, ha ha ha, makes my mouth taste like burning. Ha ha ha, I'm gonna add this to all my food. Capsaicin burns us because it's actually a reaction. We're not meant to enjoy it. It's the plant's way of keeping large creatures from eating it. Okay, I think this is in an inkable state, so... Oh, what time is it? Oh, blimey. Yeah, I'm looking at the time and it's like, 3 hours of streaming. Well, you know what? We have Ultra Magnus here. I'm gonna be able to ink and color him tomorrow quite comfortably. What do you guys think? So he's the main one I needed to work on today. There was meant to be someone else, but I don't think they're gonna really appear in the roleplay until later anyway. And besides, it's nearly midnight for me, so I'm just really tired right now. Oh, sorry. So anyway, thanks guys for joining me for this. I really appreciate the company. I'm gonna finish up this drawing in my own time. And tomorrow is Jetstream on the Tabletop. Actually, that's only Eastern States Little World. I'm on the western side of Australia, but yeah, it is late for me. So, anyway, I've been Techie, you've been fantastic, and I'll see you all next time.
Hey.
You like that? That's my whole sign-off thing. Yeah, it needs work.
Hey.
Night.